What's going on, guys? It's your boy Scrub here, back again with another video. Hope you guys are having a great day. I know I am. And today, ladies and gentlemen, I found something I wanted to talk about a library book that got turned in 110 years overdue, which seems like, to the point where it's like, why even bother? Regardless, I thought it would be entertaining, and without further ado, let's talk about it.
Nice racking her ass Brazilian, just turned 21, but my bank's $1 million.
Alright, ladies and gentlemen, I personally have checked out a book from the library before. I'm hoping some of you guys have before. If none of you have, then I don't know, that's just kind of sad. But regardless, they kind of tell you that you have to have your book back by a certain time. Now, if you go overdue, obviously, they'd still like the book back, but I guess some people just pull the whole YOLO, I'm gonna keep it card instead. And whoever this dude's grandpa was really took that to the extreme. It was pretty overdue. Boise Library book returned 110 years after being checked out. Alright, here's what I think probably happened. I really doubt Grandpa went, damn it, I'm late, I'm on the fritz, I'm just gonna go on the run, changed his name and moved states, right? He probably just forgot about it. But if I'm someone's grandkid going through all their stuff and I find a library book, and I check and it's from 1911, is it really bad that I would keep it just for the fact that, that's really cool, dude? I don't know if that makes me a horrible person, but I'm just more kind of surprised that the person that found this book ended up returning it to a library than anything. Old books exist. That's not necessarily surprising. The fact that somebody found a 110-year-old book and went, I don't want this hunk of garbage, back to the library, that's what's surprising. One library book made its way back to the Boise Public Library about 110 years past its due date, according to library assistant Anne-Marie Martin. I think we were all very surprised. Martin said, you kind of wondered what its story is and how it ended up there. Was it in somebody's box? Did somebody pass away? Did they move? What happened? We'll never know, but you could imagine all types of fun stories about it. Alright, no hate to librarians. I think they have a very important job. One of my favorite teachers of all time was my librarian in elementary school, so this is not coming from a place of hatred. I just have to make the joke. You know your job is so boring, right? If the highlight of it is imagining that somebody had a book in a box or moved. Isn't it so exciting to think of all the fun possibilities of where this book was, but the fun possibilities where it was in a box or somebody died? My goodness, being around these books sure has shifted the idea of fun, dude. Low key, I bet you this makes everything way more exciting, though. This is kind of smart. You work in a library, right? So it's really boring. You start to think that a book being in a box is very exciting, right? So then imagine how hype you are when you go to Disneyland. If you think about it, the offset has to be pretty killer, right? Sure, if boxes excite you, then what does a roller coaster do? That's gotta be the thrill of a lifetime. They low-key got it figured out, you know what I mean? I think the best, most fun possibility I can think of for this book is that it was in some diplomat's house and he had a bug inside of it that he was using to spy on people, and then, eventually after years and years of spying on the foreign government, he was swayed to join the American side and betrayed his country, becoming a double agent. I just hope it gets wrapped up in some weird espionage stuff. I don't know why spy stuff to me is just the ultimate coolness, but yeah, if something was somehow involved in some espionage mission in the Cold War, it instantly becomes 4 times cooler to me. I don't know why. The book was checked into the Garden City Library and they noticed it had a Boise Library sticker, so they sent it over to the Boise Public Library. We all went, well, that's weird. There's no record of this in our catalog and it says November 8th of 1911, so obviously it's pretty overdue. The book found its way back to the library shelf over a century later, but it's unclear how it got there or where it's been all these years. See what you did, Mr. Good Samaritan? Oh no, Grandpa had an overdue library book. Instead of keeping it of a memento of a book that he had, I'm gonna give it back to the library. They didn't even know it existed. It wasn't in the catalog. It's not like they had Anne-Marie here scrambling around the library trying to find the copy of this book, okay? At that point, I would feel really bad about it. They didn't even know it existed. They literally did not have proof that this book was overdue. You literally could have kept it and no one would have been the wiser. I know it's the right thing to do to turn it in, okay? I'm not trying to encourage any bad behavior here. Don't get it twisted. I don't know. It would be cool to have a book from 1911. I don't know why. It's one of those things, where you're I want it. And everyone's well, why do you want it? You're honestly, I really don't have a good reason. Just old book cool. I just can't imagine the goody two-shoe you have to be to turn this book in, dude. Like, this is definitely the type of person that reminds the teacher if they didn't collect the homework from the night before. Like, this is the person that asked to add a page to an essay so they can explain stuff more in detail. This is the person that asked for extra credit, like, on the third day of school, dude. Like, if you're the type of person to turn in a library book 100 years over its due, you've got to be the biggest overachiever of all time, which isn't a bad thing. Society needs overachievers, all right? For each person that just wants to sit in their room and talk crap over Valorant gameplay, we need somebody that, like, wants to make some pharmaceutical pills. We got to have a balance here, you know? That being said, my goodness, you have to be a very rule-following person to feel guilty about a 100-year-old library book being in your basement. This is things you don't know about the Carnegie Public Library in Boise, and it's from August 4th, 1912. Having been lost sometime in November, December 1911 was reflected in the library report. Here's a passage that talks about inventory, books worn out, the amount of lost, paid for 6, kept, and missing. Obviously, this one wasn't worn out, but it was either lost or paid for, or kept by a subscriber, or missing. Wait a second, I'm confused, bro. Isn't that just literally every possibility? Like I said, I'm not trying to disrespect him here, but this news article literally went, okay, it was either lost, paid for, or somebody kept it. And it's like, well, yeah, because those are the three options, dude. Like, what do you mean? What other option was there, dude? Somebody put it in the trash and then it accidentally got dumped onto somebody's bookshelf? I don't think that necessarily went down either. The New Chronicles of Rebecca was originally $1.50. The Boise Library stopped charging for overdue books in 2019, but if they did, the late fee would be more than $800. The condition is great. It's a really good example of what libraries used to do before they had barcodes. So you would have one of these slips and put the name on the person, and it would be kept on the library, and this one would stay in the book and match up and make sure they're good. The paper records are long gone, so it'll be nearly impossible to ever know who checked it out, but it now sits in the Idaho room at the library. Dude, yo, low-key, they probably had that book for a minute, and they were waiting for those late fees to get waived. I will say, way nicer late fees than I'd expected. You would think 100 years late would be like a fat late fee, at least $1,000. You know, at least a comma in there. Maybe that's just me being delusional. I'm just saying, if I had like a business where I rented stuff out and somebody turned something in 100 years late, at that point, I feel like I've kind of earned the right to be like, yeah, I'm charging you out the wazoo, bro. We kind of had an agreement that you were going to bring this back and you just really didn't. They were just waiting for it. As soon as the policy was announced, they're like, I'm going to wait a year or two so nobody gets too suspect and then I'm dumping this book. Once again, though, man, the Chronicles of Rebecca is definitely an old sounding book, bro. They really used to just write books about the most mundane stuff. Like, I remember in English class reading stuff from the late 1800s, early 1900s. They'd just be like, I went to the dairy farm today and milked a cow. It was cool. You're like, cool, man. Nice. Great visualization of a story here. Anyways, guys, I think that's going to do it for the video. Hopefully you enjoyed. I just thought it was cool that somebody turned in a book 100 years late. Thank goodness they ducked the late fee. Otherwise, they'd be getting charged. And yeah, if you did enjoy, like, comment, subscribe, turn on notifications, all that good stuff. It really helps me out. If you want to help me out more, I'll put a link to the intro song in the description, along with a link to my podcast, The Scuffed Cast. And of course, you could use code Scrubae at the G Fuel checkout if you haven't already. It's a great way to get a discount on G Fuel and help me out, and I'd really, really appreciate it. And last but certainly not least, I got two things that I gotta plug. First things first, I did put some of my story times up on Spotify. I'll put that link in the description. Be sure to check it out. I would very much appreciate it. And next, we've got the Karen Christmas sweater, which of course is the coolest thing to ever exist in the history of the planet, and it can be yours by visiting the top link in the description, so be sure to do that and get it if you want. And yeah, on that note, guys, that'll do it. Don't get anyone pregnant. If you do, make sure they're hot, and hopefully I'll see you guys next time. I'm out. Peace.